There is a lie that has been sold to Africa for 6 decades. The lie that our freedom was won in 1960. The lie that our presidents are commanders-in-chief. The lie that our borders are sacred. On October 11th, 2025, that lie died on the streets of Antananarivo, executed by the very soldiers who were paid to defend it. This is not a story about water shortages. This is not even a story about a coup. This is the story of a psychological atom bomb that has just detonated at the heart of the Neocolonial project. And the shockwave is currently racing across the continent, destined to topple every puppet regime in its path.
Surreal scenes in the Malagasy capital Saturday as soldiers joined protesters marching against President Andry Rajoelina. The troops are from the same unit that helped Rajoelina take power for the first time 16 years ago, following nationwide protests. They urged their comrades to disobey their commanders, prevent planes from leaving the territory. And for those who do not join us here at the camp, do not accept orders from your superiors to shoot at your people. Close your gates, stop listening to your superiors' orders, and wait for our instructions.
Let's be clear about what happened. When soldiers from Madagascar's elite CAPSAT unit looked down the barrels of their rifles at unarmed citizens demanding electricity, they faced a choice that has been presented to every African soldier since independence. Obey the corrupt politician in the palace, or stand with the starving people who are your family. For decades, the choice was simple. The palace won. The system endured. But something has changed. A new consciousness, forged in the fires of the Sahel, has infected the African mind. The example of Captain Ibrahim Traoré in Burkina Faso was not just a political event. It was a psychological virus. When Traoré stood in his simple fatigues and declared that Africa's resources belonged to Africans, he inoculated a generation against the fear of their own power. The Madagascan soldiers who joined the protesters on October 11th were not making a spontaneous decision. They were implementing a new Pan-African doctrine, one written not in a military academy, but in the collective humiliation of 1 billion people. The doctrine is simple. The only legitimate order is the one that serves the people. This is why the African Union will condemn this. This is why Washington and Paris are issuing concerned statements. They are not afraid of a new president in Madagascar. They are terrified of a new idea. The idea that the African soldiers' loyalty is not to the flag, not to the state, but to the revolution.
We're simply responding to the call of the Malagasy people. After the gendarmerie's repression, we're trying to show the people that the army still exists. What really makes me happy is that CAPSAT has declared its stance with the people and with the youth. And they have condemned the violence against the Malagasy people.
Look at the pattern they call instability. In 2021, it was Guinea. In 2022, it was Burkina Faso and Mali. In 2023, it was Niger. In 2024, it was Gabon. Now, in 2025, it is Madagascar. The Western media calls this a coup epidemic. They are wrong. This is not a disease. This is a fever, the body of Africa burning out an infection. The infection is the entire post-colonial state structure, a system designed for resource extraction, not human development. The president in Madagascar, Andry Rajoelina, is a perfect symbol of this failed system. A man who himself came to power through a military-backed uprising in 2009, only to become the very thing he swore to destroy. His fate is a warning to every African leader who believes they can use the people's pain as a ladder to power, then forget the people once they reach the top. The real, untold story here is economic. Madagascar is not poor. It is one of the most resource-rich islands on Earth. It holds over $200 billion in untapped mineral wealth, nickel, cobalt, ilmenite, and the rare earth metals that power the entire global tech industry. Yet, 75% of its population lives on less than $1.90 a day. This is not an accident. This is the design of a system that funnels wealth to foreign corporations and a tiny, comprador elite in the capital. The protesters are not just chanting for electricity. They are chanting for the smelters and processing plants that should have been built decades ago. They are demanding to know why their uranium powers French lights while their own children study in darkness. The soldiers who joined them have not staged a coup. They have switched sides in a silent war that has been raging since independence. They have chosen to represent the interests of the Madagascan miner over the interests of the foreign mining CEO. This is the final, terrifying truth for the neocolonial powers. They have lost the African army. The weapon they created to enforce their borders and protect their investments is now turning against them. The gun they placed in the hands of the African soldier to maintain stability is now being aimed at the system itself. What happens next is inevitable. Madagascar will fall. A military council will take control, promising a transition. The West will impose sanctions, cutting off the very aid that perpetuates the dependency they designed. And in response, Madagascar will do what Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have done. It will turn east to Russia, to China, to Iran, to anyone who offers a deal without the moral hypocrisy. But this too is a trap. Swapping a Western master for an Eastern one is not freedom. The real revolution, the economic revolution, is yet to come. It will come when Africa not only controls its mines but builds its own factories, its own ships, its own financial systems. The events in Madagascar are a critical, bloody, and necessary step in that direction. It is the sound of a slave breaking his chains, not yet knowing what he will do with his freedom, but knowing with absolute certainty that the chains must break. The lie is dead. The ghost of the colonial soldier has been exorcised from the African barracks. And from the ashes of Antananarivo, a new, terrifying, and beautiful African warrior is being born. One who serves the people, not the palace. One who answers to the revolution, not the regime. The world is watching. But Africa is no longer watching with it. Africa is moving. And nothing, no sanction, no condemnation, no desperate plea for democracy, can stop what has already begun.